Hi, this is Joy from the Red Thumb Rebellion, and I wanted to continue my video series about reporting rape and sexual assault in different situations. So today I'm going to be talking about reporting to your school or to any education system, whether that's high school or college, really, but specifically I'm going to be talking about the university setting because that's what I'm familiar with. And the truth of the matter is that unfortunately, the vast majority of the time, the school prioritizes its numbers over the survivor. Its rates of sexual assault or its financial concerns with going to trial or whatever. That's the priority. It's controlling the situation and mitigating the situation, not getting justice for the survivor or ensuring that the survivor is taken care of. So it's important to understand that when reporting to your university. It's important to understand your university's reporting policies, because a lot of them, what I found, abuse Title IX in order to take that power and control away from the survivor. So Title IX was supposed to protect survivors, was supposed to make things so that we were safe in reporting what happened to us. And instead, some schools, or most of the ones I've looked at, it's abused to create this power structure where the survivor's voice and choice is not respected. So for instance, for my university, this is still true in 2022. There are mandated reporting laws, of reporting policies for every university employee. That's the president of the university to the professors to the cafeteria workers. Everybody is a mandated reporter if they work for the university. And most of us know mandated reporting about child abuse or elderly abuse, populations that, for various reasons, for kids because they're young, for the elderly sometimes it's dementia, sometimes it's the mental capacity is not the same. They need support. They need advocates to step in and be their voices. That's the point of mandated reporting, so that if you're, say, working with children and a child discloses to you that they're being hurt at home, you are by law required to report to someone that could intervene, that could do an investigation to make sure the child is safe, because the child's primary advocates, their parents, may be the ones doing it. So that's why mandated reporting exists. It's not to tell on a survivor if she discloses to a professor that she trusts, right? So if a survivor goes to a professor and says, I need to tell you about something that happened, something really bad happened to me, a true trauma-informed professor, and how rare that might be, would say, whoa, anything you say to me, I'm going to have to report. I'm going to have to tell someone what you told me. What kind of protection is that, or support for the survivor to begin with? And I believe the vast majority probably wouldn't be trauma informed and wouldn't know to stop them and say, you need to have the choice, you need to be informed of what's going to happen if you tell me. And instead, they hear the disclosure and then violate the trust and take away power and control unintentionally by having to do their job and report. And what that basically is telling the survivor's story without her permission. And when I found out that was what was happening at my school in 2019 is when I found out about this, I was livid. I mean, at that point, I'd been a couple of years into victim advocacy, and it just went against the number one rule, maintaining power and control for the survivor. So I actually demanded that the professor that explained that to me take me to the Title IX office so I could ask the Title IX representatives, the director of the Title IX chair, that these questions. And I did ask her, and I said, so you're telling me that if a cafeteria worker overhears a survivor telling her friend what happened to her, that they would have to report, and that there's also structure in place that if the school decided it was in the school's best interest to move forward with an investigation, that they could then potentially call that survivor into court and by law make them swear under oath to say what happened to them, even if they only wanted to tell their best friend and there was no intention or desire at all to take this to court. And she kind of sat there for a couple seconds, and me and my professor are looking at each other, and she says, that is the truth. Yes, that is what can happen. So this is a real fear. know who you have true confidentiality with on campus. Usually that's medical professionals, so the university health services, usually true confidentiality where you can disclose and they don't have to report you to anyone, and psychiatric, psychological services. So if you have therapy on campus, usually the counselors you have true confidentiality with, that you can talk about what happened and not have to worry about that. But this is very important for survivors to know for their own privacy, their own power, again, power and control over their story, their choices, and their future. We should be talking about this more. We should be outraged more. And ultimately, we should be working. And what I want to do is to change these policies, to change the policy with the school. Grown women do not need mandated reporters. They need options, they need choices, and they need information to get their education. They don't need to be told, we know what's best for you, or we're going to do what's best for us and not care what's best for you. There's too much of that going on in every aspect of these reporting situations. So, as always, take a support person with you if you can, someone else to listen to your story, to listen to what you actually said, and hear what's being said back to you about what's going to be done with your report. Write down in a journal who you reported to, what they said was going to happen with that report. And as always, cope ahead and just do any self-care that you can. And ultimately, I always got to say, if you're going to report, if something happened to you, do it at the hospital or do it to a healthcare provider, whether that's mental health or your PCP. Getting cared for is the primary objective when it comes to trauma-informed victim advocacy. Thank you for listening, and my next video is going to be the last one in the series about personal disclosures. So I'll talk to you then.